Live from a basement in Dubuque, Iowa.
I'll bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day.
30 minutes from the Field of Dreams and 4 hours from the closest professional sports team.
It's not a lie if you believe it.
On the banks of the Mississippi River.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
It's the Degenerate Sports Betting Show with Matthew Freedman.
That's what I do. I drink and I know things.
And now your host, Matthew Freedman.
Hello, everyone. I'm Matt Freedman, Matt F. the Oracle. Welcome to the Degenerate Sports Betting Show, brought to you by Bets TV and sponsored by the FTN Network, where you can get all the season-long and daily fantasy and sports betting content your degenerate heart desires, including my fantasy football write-ups and all of my NFL size totals and player props. Use the highly original promo code Freedman for 20% off your FTN subscription. That is Freedman for 20% off at FTN. Thanks for checking out the show. Subscribe to the Bets TV channel on YouTube and rate, review, and subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app. It is Thursday afternoon, Thursday night football, just a few hours away. So in this episode, we're breaking down tonight's game. I'm going to highlight the player prop that I like the most for Thursday night football, and we're going to run through my 3 favorite bets for NFL games this upcoming weekend. Let's get into the show. Producer Thomas Viola, sidekick on the controls, connoisseur of pasta, titan of tomato sauce, Billy Joel junkie, long-suffering Jets fan. Tom, a couple things. 1, wearing glasses. I'm observant. I noticed. 2, I realized that in the intro to the Degenerate Sports Betting Show, we have the clip that is pulled from Game of Thrones. And in the optimal intro, which you do the voice work for, I'm assuming you did the production work for, you also added in that same clip. Now, it's not as if I can be outraged by this because we are stealing it from another source. But I'm just saying, to reuse that within, the same universe. What's going on, Tom?
I will say, it took you how many months to notice? I was hoping that I could just get away with it. I needed one more clip for that intro and did not know what to use. Might have been an accident. I don't quite remember at this point.
Granted, it took me months to notice because I don't sit around for the intro of that show. I just go through it, but it randomly somehow it popped up. I heard the intro, and I'm not going to say I was outraged, Tom. I was just justifiably disappointed. But also shout out to the optimal show that the guys at FTN are doing. Kyle Murray every day running through the optimizer that we have at FTN, talking about what's happening with the optimizer, the plays that he's seen, what happened on previous slates. So doing, I think, a very extensive and good breakdown for people who are interested in DFS. So everyone should be sure to check that out. If for no other reason, then you can hear Tom's mellifluous tones. Okay, Tom, Thursday night football. Let's get into it.
Indeed, let's get right into it. It is Chiefs and Chargers. The Chiefs, they opened at -3 and they still sit there. Number hasn't moved. The total's at 52. One thing to worry about for the Chargers is Austin Eckler going to be playing on a bad ankle here, but it looks like he's going to give it a go in this game. The Chargers are just so maddeningly inconsistent to me. This is a tough divisional game. They have quote unquote home field advantage. It's a tough call for me. I feel like they could keep this game close because it is a division rival. They like to do that. This division always plays itself tough. But on the other hand, they've been blown out by some teams, and the Chiefs look real good right now. They're finally looking like the Chiefs again.
Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned that the Chargers are inconsistent, kind of hard to figure out. I feel that same way about the Chiefs. I feel like they're kind of hard to figure out, although they are on a winning streak right now. That offense hasn't done anything in the past 2 months except dominate the Raiders twice. Like the offense is in this really weird spot where it just does not look like the Chiefs offense. And then the defense, it doesn't look like the Chiefs defense, and that is actually good. Right? Like this defense has been much, much better over the past 2 months, but the Chargers can put up points. Obviously, quarterback Justin Herbert. I mean, he's not like, you can't put him up in the Mahomes tier yet, but he has been really impressive through his first almost now 2 full years in the league. The defense that the Chargers have is adequate against the pass. They have a bad run defense. I don't know how much that really matters because the Chiefs don't really have a good run offense. I want to bet on the Chiefs in this spot. Tom, as you mentioned, the Chargers have no home field advantage. Injuries to Austin Eckler, an injury to Mike Williams. The Chargers offensive line is, I wouldn't say it's in shambles, but it's definitely not at full health. They're missing right tackle Brian Bulaga, who's on the IR. Rashawn Slater is on the COVID reserve list, so he is out for this game. I kind of wish I had grabbed this around 3 earlier this morning when I was researching and doing the write-up, but 3 feels like the right number. And now if you look in the market, it is 3.5 or it is a juiced 3 across the board. I am not seeing any, pure -110 threes that are out there. So the market is also saying that, this is the Chiefs as the sharp side here. But I don't know. 3 feels like the right number. That's all the analysis I have on this spread. Like I want to bet it because it's the Degenerate Sports Betting Show. And I feel like I want to have action on this game, but I do think 3 is the right number.
I'm seeing Caesars and WinBet have 3 with no juice right now, but that information could be a tiny bit out of date. I'm just getting that from Vegas Insider.
Okay.
I feel like we're overthinking this game. The Chiefs to me are a team that's getting back up to speed. It's not that they've varied from week to week. It's that they had that lull. They had that period where they were playing poorly, and now they're starting to heat up again. The Chargers, you don't know who's showing up every week. That's how I view these two teams. I think that they're capable of keeping it close, but I also think that the Chiefs are built different, and they're starting to get back to that way.
It's tempting to feel that way because the defense, which sucked in the first half of the season, has really come along. But that offense is just, it's so weird. That offense does not look like the Chiefs offense unless they're playing the Raiders.
Yeah, I agree with you there. We'll have to see if they can put it together here in this one. How about the total? Because it's at 52.5 right now.
This total, it is really interesting. We have 2 explosive teams. So, that would make you want to go with the over. And that is the direction in which the market has moved. This number opened at 49.5 earlier this morning when I was doing, put the breakdown for this, putting some notes in the outline. The number was 52.5. Now I'm looking across the board, 52.5 at some books, 52.5 at BetMGM. And that is actually the only book now where the number is still 52.5. It's 53 at DraftKings, PointsBet, Caesars. It's already moved to 53.5 at FanDuel. So this number continues to move up. I gotta say, I'm tempted to take the under, but I'm not going to do it now. I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait to see what happens with this number. But I am tempted to take the under. The Chiefs defense, Tom, you talked about how this team is starting to move in the right direction. This Chiefs defense started to get its act together in week 6. And since then, the Chiefs are 6-2 to the under, looking at the total. 53.5 is a high number for 2 divisional teams playing each other on short rest near the end of the season. But taking the under means that I am implicitly fading Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert, and I do not want to do that. I think that we can safely say that these 2 guys, in terms of overall capability, are probably 2 of the top 5 quarterbacks, like in raw talent, maybe even 2 of the top 3 in raw talent. And one of these guys could have a mediocre game and one could have a great game. And the guy who outperforms basically on his own could drive this number to the over. So I do think that the under is kind of the sharper side here, even though this line continues to move. But I really don't know if I have the conviction to bet on it. I just touched the camera cord.
Oh, boy.
Sorry, Tom.
It's okay. I'll cover for you for a little bit here while you get that reinstalled. I do agree with you in terms of their raw talent ability. I mean, For me, I'd probably put it Mahomes 1, Herbert 2, Gardner Minshew 3, some variation of that. I think that's where I'd be on that, right, Matt?
Yes, exactly. Gardner Minshew would have to be near the top. So anyway, this I do not want to be. I don't know. I'm just staying away because like I don't want to be fading these guys, but at the same time, there's no way I'm betting over 53 on a divisional game in December on short rest. Like I cannot do it.
Yeah. That's especially in divisional games, the defenses tend to show up, especially spots like this.
Yeah.
I could see this very much going to the under. How about a prop, though? Do you have a prop that you particularly like that we can cash?
Yeah. I'm looking at Caesars plus 130 odds, Darrell Williams over 2.5 receptions. So even though starter Clyde Edwards-Elaire has returned, Williams has maintained his pass catching role within this offense. We've seen him get 3 targets in each of the past 3 games. And if you look in our new prop table, which compares Jeff Ratcliffe's projections to the lines across the industry, the disparity between our projection and this line is the largest disparity among all of the Thursday night football receptions props. So given the high total for this game, and remember, this total continues to climb, and with more points come more yards, typically more passing yards, which means more receptions. We have this line closer to 3.5 versus the 2.5 that is in the market right now. And for a running back, a guy who isn't getting a lot of targets coming his direction, the disparity between 2.5 and 3.5 is massive, especially at plus 130 odds. So I do think that there is value, significant value on this number. And remember, Jeff Ratcliffe, who is doing the projections for FTN, one of the best rankers, projection creators in the industry. So a great deal of value on this line. I like it a lot. Darrell Williams over 2.5 receptions at plus 130 odds.
All right. Well, there we have it. That is our Thursday night football selection. I'm definitely going to be taking that Darrell Williams prop. Why not? If we can cash on 3 receptions, I'm going to take that all day. All right. Matt, let's move on here to some of the Sunday games and some of the Saturday games because college bowl season is upon us, which means the NFL has begun its annual encroachment out of Sunday and onto the Saturday slate. And we have, starting off here, New England at Indianapolis. This is one of the most intriguing games of the week because this is a team that started off so ice cold and has gotten hot for a deep playoff run versus the current 1 seed in the Patriots. And I feel like the question is still a little bit of, are the Patriots for real? This should be such a great game. Patriots actually getting 2 points in this contest right now. Where are you going on this one?
Yeah, Tom, I will be curious about your thoughts on this one. This line has moved around a little. It is actually now at some books 2.5. At DraftKings, it's 2. At FanDuel, at BetMGM, at PointsBet, it is 2.5. At Caesars, it is still 2. I bet this line at plus 2, and the market has moved against me. So clearly I'm higher on the Patriots than the consensus of the sports betting community, but I think this game should be a pick 'em. At 2.5, this line is basically saying that the Patriots and Colts would be even on a neutral field, and I don't think that's right. I do not. The Patriots have an NFL best 150-point differential, and that is thanks primarily to their defense. They're number 1 in points allowed per game, number 2 in defensive expected points added per play. They have a defense that is as good as any other in the league, and their offense has been even better during their 7-game winning streak. It's number 1 in EPA per play since week 7, and that is due mainly to the development of rookie quarterback Mac Jones, who in that span is number 2 in composite EPA and completion percentage over expectation. And granted, Jones isn't doing a lot within the Patriots offense, but what he is asked to do as a passer, he is doing extremely well, very capably. And to get a team of this quality as an underdog, even on the road, that feels like a gift, especially with head coach Bill Belichick. Since 2003, and that's as far back as the database goes, Belichick on the road is 90, 61, and 3 against the spread. As an underdog, he's 31, 17, and 2 against the spread. You put those together as a road dog. He is 27-14-2 against the spread during their current winning streak. The Patriots are 7-0 against the spread, and they have covered by 18.6 points per game. Like, I know that there has to be regression at some point, but 18.6 per game, it's a massive number. The market has been so wrong, so off in its estimation of the Patriots over the past 2 months. What makes us think that this week, all of a sudden, the market gets it right? I think the market is still way too low on the Patriots, so I will gladly take them as underdogs at +2.5.
I think I'm with you, especially because when I was looking at this line originally, it obviously opened Patriots -2.5. I thought that you had actually made a mistake when you put it in at +2.5, and then I went and checked. I couldn't believe that it's flipped 4 whole points. That's just ridiculous. This Colts team, my thing though, is that they're good. Jonathan Taylor has been ridiculous for them, but it feels like such a toss-up game to me. My gut says that the Patriots are legit, because when are they not legit? But I don't know. I think it's just going to be such a tough one. I can't wait to watch it. I think this is a game that really tells us who is one of the Super Bowl favorites out of the AFC. I think I have to go with you as the Patriots.
I have a question, kind of thinking about this game a little bit more. Let's think back to the Titans playing the Patriots a few weeks ago, where the Titans ran all over the Patriots and they still lost by double-digit points.
Yeah.
It feels like that is the situation here, where Jonathan Taylor, he is the best part of what the Colts have going on with their offense. I don't doubt that he is going to have a great game going against a Patriots defense that is weakest against the run. And the way Belichick schemes his defense, I think he actually might be okay with Jonathan Taylor having a pretty big game against them and saying, like, but that's all you get. You're not getting Carson Wentz doing anything on the outside with the receivers. We'll give you Jonathan Taylor. The running game will not beat us. Like, ultimately, even if you do well on the running game, that is not going to dictate who wins or loses this game. And I just think Carson Wentz, is he better than Ryan Tannehill? Like, I don't know. Like, he's playing well for Carson Wentz this year, but I don't think you could say that he is better than Tannehill. Maybe if you were tiering all of the quarterbacks, they are in the same tier this season. But I think it's a pretty similar game plan to what we saw a couple of weeks ago from the Patriots against the Titans, and that game was not close. So yeah. I think it's that type of matchup.
And Belichick, the thing that he does better than anything else with his defense is he just takes one thing away from he takes what you're best at away from you and makes you win some other way. You're right though that he could probably just say that's all you're going to get in this game is the run game, and just kind of roll with it from there. And on the other side, the Patriots can control the clock. I feel like they have a more complete offense because their passing game is a little bit better. I'm not saying Mac Jones is better than Carson Wentz yet. I think he's going to get there for sure. But it's not like the Patriots' run game is bad either. I like the Patriots getting a couple points here. I might just take a money line, though.
I like that. Yeah. I mean, I think the Patriots win this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the money line seems like the right way to play it.
How about the total? Any sort of lean on this one?
No, I mean, slightly to the under. You know, I'm on the Patriots in a lower scoring game, favors the underdogs. But I think this number that we see in the market, it's about right.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. If anything, it's just because I see both of these teams running the ball a lot, and that could lead us to the clock getting chewed up. But
yeah.
The next game that you've got on the board here is the Titans at Steelers. The Titans still vying for that number 1 seed, and the Steelers just kind of existing. They're not as bad as they were. Are they even in the playoff? They're technically in the playoff hunt because with the stupid 17 playoff, everybody not named the Jets and the Texans are in the playoff hunt still.
Well, and the AFC North is wide open.
It is.
Like, it really is. You have the Browns, who don't have a team this week.
Yeah, they are currently browsing.
Yes, the Bengals look like they're not really trying to win. And Lamar Jackson, like who knows what's up with him. So you have a Ravens team that isn't anywhere close to full strength. If the Steelers were able to go on a run, they actually could win the division. Like they're still somehow live for it with 4 games left.
That is absolutely wild. That division is just sad this year, which is a sad statement because it's got some good teams in it.
Yep.
But who are you looking at here? Because the line's sitting at Titans 2. Are the Titans legit? Because I don't think they are.
I don't think they are. And, I should say when I wrote this morning, this line was +2. It is now +1, pretty uniformly across the industry. And so this line continues to move towards the Steelers. I bet it at 2.5 on Sunday. I liked it at 2. Honestly, I would probably still bet them at 1. I don't like it nearly as much, but I would probably still bet it. I've mentioned the Steelers as underdogs before. If I have the opportunity to bet on them as underdogs, I almost always just feel compelled to do it as a matter of principle. They tend historically to thrive in this spot under head coach Mike Tomlin, who just feels like the kind of head coach who mentally has the mindset of always being an underdog. You know what I mean? Like he thrives in that mindset. And so given Tomlin's us against everyone mentality, I don't think it's a surprise that he does well in adversity. As an underdog, he's 45-24-3 against the spread, 35-32 straight up for 21.6 units of profit. And as a home underdog against the spread, 13-3-2 home underdog. He's crushed it in that spot, 12-6 straight up for 11 units of profit. And Tom, you asked the question about the Titans. Are they for real? I don't think so. Without running back Derrick Henry, and I know running backs don't matter, but Derrick Henry, is kind of the exception. Without Derrick Henry, the Titans have been mediocre in the ground game, ranked 20 in rush EPA per play since week 9. That is where the Steelers defense is most vulnerable. Just think of that Steelers game last week where the Vikings ran all over them with 242 yards. If the Titans can't do something like that to the Steelers, I don't really see them having all that much offensive success. And then the Titans on defense, not very good. This feels like a tight game, a close game, and I think that benefits the Steelers. The Titans, I think they're probably better than the Steelers, but are they 1 to 2 points better on the road? I don't think so. I think this should basically be a pick 'em. And Tomlin is 15-7 against the spread as an underdog after a loss. So I know that was kind of, I wouldn't say a traumatic loss on Thursday Night Football, because really they shouldn't have even been in that game. And then they came back and had a very good chance to tie and to win at the end of that game. It didn't happen. I don't think that's the kind of thing that's going to linger, to stick with this team, in part because it was Thursday Night Football, and in part because that kind of thing just hasn't impacted this team in the past. 15-7 against the spread as an underdog off a loss. So I think the Steelers, they find a way to cover the way that they tend to always find a way to cover in this spot.
I don't know that I can do it. This is a stay away game for me, I think, but I just don't know that I can take. I think I have to fall on I know the Steelers are bad versus I think the Titans are bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the way I have to take this game. It's mostly a stay away for me, though.
That's interesting. What unit do you think is the best in this game?
Titans defensive line.
Okay. I think you're probably right on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say Steelers defense is better than Titans defense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think there's much of a difference at this point between the Titans offense and the Steelers offense. Mm-hmm. The Titans offense might be a little bit better, but not all that much better. You know what I mean?
Is AJ Brown back?
No, he's not.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I want no part of this game.
Yeah. So
But
at
that's the
home,
weird thing that the Titans have done is they've had all of these injuries and they somehow still win these games. Like, yes, they blew out the now urbanless Jacksonville Jaguars in their last game. Like, congratulations, you did that with Julio Jones as your receiver. We expect that, but still, like they've been able to pull these wins out in weird spots here. Also, congratulations to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Congratulations to everyone in Jacksonville. Hopefully your next coach isn't somehow worse than Urban Meyer.
I mean, the only way it could get worse is if you hire the Jacksonville fan from the good place.
Oh man. Yes, the non-monk man.
Yes.
I don't know. It could be worse. Like, let's take a step out of the show. Let's think about who are the coaches you think Adam Gase would be worse?
No, I don't know if anyone could be worse, because there's a case to be made that that's the worst coaching tenure in history. Like, let's think about that for a second. Like, let's go through what were it's so bad that bringing in Tim Tebow was a footnote on this season.
Yeah. Tim Tebow at a position he's never played before.
Yeah. That's a footnote on this season. That's how bad it was. Like, you start off right off the bat, you hire a strength and conditioning coach with allegations of, was it workplace harassment or racism?
Yeah.
Bottom line is you bring that guy in, immediately have to fire him. And it did not get better from there. Like, by week 2, you're putting out we're going to get this thing turned around message, which is incredibly terrible. Then you have, of course, the famous Urban Meyer Applebee's incident. Like, and it just kept getting worse as time went on.
Wait, was that at an Applebee's? I thought that was at his own bar.
Yeah, it was at his own bar. And then that wasn't even like the worst thing to happen, because now you have him kicking his own players and he's been berating his coaching staff.
I'm trying to think of the really bad NFL coaches. I like Matt Patricia. He would be better than Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
Where
is he now? Did he go back to the Patriots?
Yeah. Adam Gase would be better. Freddie Kitchens would be better. Jason Garrett would be better. I mean, Bobby Petrino.
Petrino lasted one more game.
Yeah.
And got one more win.
I still think Petrino might be worse.
I don't know. It's got to be up there.
It's close. The fact that it's hard to think of someone who would be this bad. Yeah. Thomas Viola? No, I mean, not even
Thomas Viola made the season.
Yeah. I mean, this is
But to me, it's not just about the results on the field. It's about everything that happened off the field.
Yeah.
And that just makes it so spectacularly terrible. I get that college coaches don't transfer to the NFL well. I mean, Pete Carroll had to take a second crack at it just to get there. Jim Harbaugh, yeah, he made it to the Super Bowl. Like, he had some success. I'll give him that, as much as I hate him. But for the most part, college coaches do not make it to the NFL well. But there's a difference between that and what has gone on here.
You know, I think if you hired some old-time NFL coach who hasn't been in the league for like 20 years.
The Raiders did that. The Raiders did that, and he had an email scandal.
I'm saying even older than him, like Barry Switzer, like
Revive Weeb Eubank.
Yeah, like someone who is probably not going to be alive in 10 years and who like was maybe already kind of antiquated anyway when he was head coaching. Maybe that person would be worse, but you're still taking a shot on it. Like the odds are they're probably not worse.
The fact that that's even a hypothetical here. And and by the way, what was the it was just in my head for a second. There was an Urban Meyer moment that we forgot that was like significant. It was just in my head. There was one more.
Kicking the kicker?
No, not that one. But also can't believe that you did that.
Telling his coaches that they are losers and making them talk about where they've won on their resumes.
Nope, we addressed that. There was one more moment this season. There was one more bit. Oh, telling Vic Fangio it's like playing Alabama every week. Like, I can't believe Fangio actually let that out. Urban Meyer has no friends. That's for sure.
Yeah. That is accurate. He has no friends. Did you see the handshake?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he has no friends.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's get to the next game. That was a nice tangent.
Indeed. The next game up on the board here for us. I love this game. The Atlanta Falcons at the San Francisco 49ers. Stands at Falcons plus 9.5 right now. And I think we are like-minded on this one.
Yes. It is known that I am a degenerate. I am a donkey. But I might have accidentally fallen on the sharp side of this one. Although I don't know. I don't know if I am on the sharp side, right? I bet the spread. I'm on the Falcons. I bet the spread on Sunday night at +8 in case the market took it towards 7. Alas, that is not what the market did. The market has taken this number closer to 10. It is now 9.5 across the board, like uniformly 9.5. If you want to bet it at 9.5, I think that's fine. But given how far this line has moved to this point, I think there's a chance it gets to 10 by kickoff. So if you want to invest in the Falcons, maybe you just wait at this point to see if the 10 pops up. If it doesn't, you can bet it at 9.5. If the line moves down even a little bit, there's not much of a difference between 9.5 and 9 or even 8.5. But either way, I want to be betting on the Falcons. More specifically, I want to be betting against the 49ers. And I'm fine doing that at more than a touchdown. 49ers head coach, Kyle Shanahan, he is a great play caller. Like that should not be, well, let me rephrase this. He's a great play designer, right? Sometimes he doesn't sequence plays in the most optimal way, but he's a great schemer of plays. He's a horrendous in-game decision maker, and that is reflected in his record. Throughout his tenure in San Francisco, Shanahan at home is 12-22-1 against the spread. As a favorite, he is 14-23-1 against the spread. And of course, as it happens, the 49ers are home and they are favored this weekend, and road underdogs against Shanahan are 15-4-1 against the spread. This season, road dogs are 70-50-1 against the spread. The Falcons, they are unlikely to win, but it is not hard to imagine them losing by a touchdown. I think the market is starting to get a little too hyped on the 49ers and what we have seen out of them recently. I will be taking the Falcons. Again, I would recommend waiting on them to see if the +10 pops in the market, but I will be betting on the Falcons.
I hate the 49ers. I have a lot of 49ers bias here. That being said, I'm taking Falcons money line in this game. I do not think the 49ers are actually good. I think that the Falcons offense has actually been competent lately. They have their weapons back. No Calvin Ridley, of course, but Russell Gage is starting to play well. Cordero Patterson's still there. Kyle Pitts is good. I think the 49ers are bad. I don't trust this team at all. I know that they actually do have talent. I can see Kittle grabbing a touchdown and those running backs doing what they do. Be a Shanahan only trusts Garoppolo to throw the ball 10 times a game. But your coach only trusts your quarterback to throw the ball 10 times a game. I can't trust a team like that to actually win, even though, yes, they did hand the ball off all their way to a Super Bowl a couple years ago. I just still don't believe this team is actually for real.
Okay, a couple of things. One, I'm not going to fight you on betting the money line. You know, like if you just blindly bet the money line against the 49ers as home favorites, you would be incredibly happy with the result. So I'm not going to fight you on that. There probably is value on the money line here. But two, I don't know if we can say that the 49ers are a bad team. They're not. I don't think they're a great team. They might not even be a good team. But the 49ers offense, that is the best unit in this game. You know what I mean? And if they cover, if they win, it is 78, 82% because of their offense.
It's not even a good offense, though. Again, their quarterback sucks.
That's a sign of how good the offense is, that Jimmy Garoppolo can be like verifiably a not good quarterback, and that offense can still be actually pretty decent.
That is true. I mean, they have good running backs. They have George Kittle. Deebo Samuel's back. Man, if that team had a good quarterback, if only they had like a Tom Brady. Oh, wait, they could have. Never forget.
I mean, Brandon Ayuk too is starting to come along again, as like he's out of the doghouse. They're now using him basically as the number one receiver, while Deebo is functioning as like when he's out wide at this point, he's basically a decoy, and then they give him some carries. The way they are using Deebo Samuel is really, really weird. Like that is a sign of the galaxy brainness of Kyle Shanahan. But that offense is still doing some pretty interesting things, especially now with Kittle as the de facto number one option.
I just hate this team so much. I guess that I am very blinded by my bias here in this one. I definitely like the Falcons +2 scores. I see them being able to keep this game close, if not pull the upset.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
How about the total here?
The number hasn't moved at all. I'm not betting it. I don't have anything interesting to say about this total.
We never have anything interesting to say about totals.
Yeah. Although, hey, before we get off the show, I do think it might be worth mentioning. I should have done this in the Thursday night segment, but in the new DFS Pick Tracker that we have at FTN Daily, I have identified 5 head-to-head matchups that I think are pretty interesting. Do you want me to maybe talk about 1 or 2 of those?
Yeah, let's hit some of them.
Okay. So the first one, and Tom, I'd like to get your thoughts on this. Clyde Edwards-Elaire versus Austin Eckler. Clyde Edwards-Elaire getting 5 bonus points. I hate fading Eckler. I really hate doing it, but he's dealing with an injury that is, I think, like a not insignificant injury. Like if this were earlier in the season, I don't think Eckler would be playing in this game, but it's a divisional matchup. You know, there's a lot at stake for them. That is why Eckler is playing, but I don't think he's going to get his full workload. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire is locked in as the goal line back for the Chiefs. Based on our projections, I think this line should be closer to like 3 or 3.5. And so to get Clyde Edwards-Helaire with 5 extra points, I think is some pretty significant value. Tom, do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't. I mean, the Chiefs are going to have to. Andy Reid's a smart enough coach that he's going to see that the best thing to do is run the ball in this game. But the Chiefs' offense doesn't go through the run. And the Chiefs' offense is one that more says we're going to do what we do rather than adapting to what you do poorly. And on the flip side of it, I feel like if Eckler wasn't able to do his thing, he wouldn't be playing in this game. Like I feel like they would just say, you know what? It's a short week. We're gonna sit him. So I think this could come back to bite you.
Maybe. I mean, yeah. I will disagree on both counts. I think like Eckler can probably do roughly what he does, but just not as well. And I think they probably think even Eckler, you know, at like 80% is better than Justin Jackson. And then also the Chiefs, they have been running the ball much more recently. And that is, I think, in part why their offense has been so bogged down, because they don't have that good of a running game and they're relying on it much more than they used to. So I could see Edwards-Helaire having maybe a little more usage than we would have expected at the beginning of the season. And with the goal line usage, like to me, that makes it close.
My fear is that you're handicapping this based on Eckler's injury, and then it turns out that he's not as injured as we think he is.
Yeah.
That's my fear.
Yeah.
And that could come back to bite you.
Yeah.
But your logic is sound. I do agree with where you're coming from a logic perspective.
All right. That is fair. He might not be as injured as I am anticipating. One more matchup here. I'm trying to decide which one I want it to be. Yeah. Travis Kelsey versus Keenan Allen. I'm getting Kelsey plus a point. Now, I know that Keenan Allen is good, but he's coming back from COVID. Travis Kelsey going against a Chargers defense that has an injured Derwin James. So James is probably going to play, but he's dealing with a hamstring injury. And the fact is, as good as James is, they're not really using him all that much this season as the shutdown pass defender. That Chargers defense is one of the worst in the league against opposing tight ends. And so Travis Kelsey getting a point versus Keenan Allen, I will take that. We have this projected as very close to a coin flip. So I think there's value in getting the extra point on Kelsey.
I'm with you here. Even with is Mike Williams out, or is he just banged up?
He's banged up. He's going to play.
I'm going to go Kelsey. You know that he's going to be such a central part of this offense. I don't ever want to bet against Travis Kelsey.
Yep. That's fair. So, okay. You can check out, and Tom will put in the show description a link to the DFS Pick Tracker. You can check out all of the picks that I have. Again, 5 picks for tonight's games. And then, everyone else has picks that are also in the free DFS Pick Tracker, Prize Picks, Monkey Knife Fight, kind of all across the industry. You can check out the picks that people at FTN are making. So check that out. And then also for Top Prop, that's where I am putting in my picks in the DFS Pick Tracker. For Top Prop, they are having a special holiday offer. If you use the promo code Freedman, highly original Freedman promo code, you get a $50 deposit bonus or deposit match. So you put in at least $50, they will match with $50. So be sure to check that out. And we will also link to Top Prop in the show description. All right, Tom, I think that's it.
That is all she wrote for us here. Where can people find all the great work you're putting out each and every day, Matt?
You can find the content at FTN Network. On Friday, I publish the Fantasy Football Breakdown. On Thursday, the Best Bets article. On Tuesday, I publish the fantasy rankings, which I update on Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then all throughout the week in the FTN Bets Tracker, I'm putting in my NFL sides, totals, and player props. And on Twitter, YouTube, your favorite podcast app, and on FTN, you can get all of the episodes of the Freedman Fantasy Football Show and the Degenerate Sports Betting Show. And always use the highly original promo code Freedman for 20% off at FTN. All right, that is the show. You can find me and Tommy V on Twitter at Matt F. The Oracle and TV at Work. Thanks for joining us, and see you next episode.